Hey guys, today I'm going to be pressure canning some beets. I've got 50 pounds of beets that I'm going to can in quart jars. I use quart jars because I have a family of 5 and we eat a lot of vegetables. If you didn't want to pressure can them, you could pickle them, which I've done before, it's super easy. I'm just trying to not have to add any sugar to the vegetables. We go through a ton of vegetables. I've already done 25 pounds previously a couple months ago, and I've got only a few jars left, so that's why I'm going to do this next batch today. You must be thinking, 50 pounds of beets, that sounds crazy. It's really not that much. I'm going to show you what it looks like in my sink. So that's what 50 pounds of beets look like. Now my sink is big, it's really deep. I'll probably be able to fit about half of those in my oven. So what I'm gonna do is roast them in the oven because they're hard to peel. You know, beets are pretty tough. Instead of having to stand here all day peeling, I'm just gonna roast them in the oven till they're, you know, partially cooked, and then the peels will just slide right off. And the texture of them when I'm done canning them is actually still really good. They're still really firm and they're really good. I use them on salads. We use them as just, you know, a side vegetable with our meals. You can put them in soups, whatever. If you have them, I'll guarantee you're going to use them. Now, I'm not someone that's going to go out and buy canned vegetables at the store. It's just not, you know, something I like or something that I feel like is good for my family. I don't want all the added salt and, you know, you don't know where the beets come from. So these, I'm able to control the salt. I know they're fresh. I know where they came from. They're not in an aluminum can. And I know that they're going to be good for my family, and they're shelf-stable. If I had a root cellar, I might have put some of these in the root cellar, but I don't. That's a project I got to work on probably next year. So now I know I've got at least, you know, several weeks worth of beets for my family that's shelf-stable and going to stay fresh. So I'm just going to get these washed off, and then I'm going to throw them in the oven at 350. So if you were going to pickle these, you could definitely hot water bath them. The pressure canning method is for foods that are low in acidity, which a lot of the vegetables are, and it's not an approved method to do in a water bath. So that's why I'm doing the pressure canner. And I'm just going to be adding water. I'm not going to put any salt in these. We want salt on them the time we eat them, that we can put on then, but I find that you don't even need salt on them. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is start a pot of water to boil on the stove, because I'm going to hot pack these because my beets are going to be hot. So I want everything to be hot, my jars, my water, and my canner. If you had, say, a hot canner and cold jars, your jars could crack, or vice versa. If your canner was cold and your jars were hot, you could risk cracking your jars. So I'm going to heat up a big stock pot of water on the stove just to have it ready and hot for when I pack my jars. I'm also going to wash and leave them in the hot water, my jars, my rings, and then my new lids. You always have to use new lids to make sure you get a good seal. When you're pressure canning, something that's kind of cool is you actually don't have to sanitize your jars, so that saves you some time there. Alright, so I just want to show you the All-American pressure canner that I'm using. This one, I think I've shown you before, has the gauge, and so it has a gauge, and then this is your steam vent where you put your weight on. You always want to make sure you check that and make sure you can see air through the vent hole. You do that in between each processing too, because it can get, you know, gummed up with stuff, and if your steam can't release, you're going to build up too much pressure, and that's not a good thing. It comes with these 2 racks. So you're going to put the rack in the bottom. And now if you were going to do pint jars, you could actually put a layer of pint jars on the bottom and then take this other rack and set it on top, and then do a whole other row of pint jars, which is pretty awesome. I'm doing quarts, which this one holds 7 quarts, so I'm just going to use the 1 rack today. The other thing it comes with is the weight. Now you want to be really careful with the weight. You don't want to drop it. If it gets any, like, you know, dings or scratches or dents in it, it's not going to work right anymore. So you just want to, you know, be very gentle with it and not drop it. Alright, so I'm going to get 3 inches of water in the bottom of my canner. You should follow the manufacturer's instructions for your canner as far as how much water you need, processing time, what pressure you need for your elevation, all that stuff. You should follow your manufacturer's instructions. Alright, so I'm just going to get that on the stove and get it heating up. Alright, my beets are done. I tested them with a knife, and then, you know, the knife broke through the skin easily, so that's all I want to do. I don't really want to cook them all the way through. I just want to make it so that they're easy to peel. So I'm going to take them out. I'm going to peel these beets and just slice them right into the hot jars. Alright, so I'm just going to peel these. The skin should come off pretty easily. So I'm hoping. They are really hot still. They just come out of the oven. I'm going to save these peels and give them to my chickens and my ducks. They love scraps from the kitchen and garden like this. I'm going to grease the inside lip of my canner. That's to make sure you get a good seal. So I just do that with a paper towel and a little bit of olive oil. That's the nice thing about this canner. Some of them have like a rubber gasket for the seal, and that can wear out over time, where this one you use the oil and you never have to replace the seal on it. Okay, so I've already checked my lid to make sure I can see it light through that vent hole. I'll line it up. So make sure you do opposite sides again when you're tightening your lid, and you just do finger tight at first. Remember that so you get that good even seal all the way around the top, and you're not letting any steam escape other than through the vent hole. Now I've got to wait till I get steam coming out of my vent hole, and then at that time I'm going to set a timer for 10 minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to get my second batch of beets processing in the oven so they're ready to be peeled when these ones come out of the canner. Alright, so my pot has been steaming for 10 minutes. I'm going to take my 10-pound weight and put it on, and then wait till it jiggles and set my timer for 35 minutes. That's per my manufacturer's instructions for the elevation that I'm at. You should look at your instruction manual. So that's the rattle. I'm going to turn it down a little bit more. So just something to remember, you want it to rattle at least once a minute, but not more than 4 times a minute. And I've got my timer set for 35 minutes. My pot's been rattling for 35 minutes. I'm going to shut it off and let it come down to a pressure of 0. So here's my finished product. I ended up with 18 quarts of beets. I'm really looking forward to eating these this winter. Thanks for watching and taking the time to stick with us to the end of the video. If you wouldn't mind, take a second to subscribe and give us a thumbs up and a comment. Thanks a lot.